Imagine waking up one morning, going about your normal routine, making breakfast, getting your kids ready for school, and by nightfall, being told to leave. Take nothing. You'll be back in 3 days. Except, you never came back. That is exactly what happened to nearly 50,000 people on April 27, 1986. And today, we're walking into the place they left behind. This is the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, a 30-kilometer radius of abandoned land surrounding the site of the worst nuclear disaster in human history. No one lives here. No shops, no traffic, no noise, just silence, and the remnants of an entire world that was switched off in a single day. Most people know the basics, the explosion, the radiation, the HBO series. But what most videos don't tell you is what it actually feels like to stand inside it. The sounds, the smells, the moment the weight of it all finally hits you. That's what this is about. The journey begins long before you reach the zone itself. You leave from Kiev, about 2 hours south. As the city fades behind you, the landscape slowly empties out. Fewer cars, fewer buildings, more trees. Then you hit the checkpoint. A stern military official takes your passport. You sign health and safety waivers, and they hand you something that immediately makes it real. A dosimeter, a small device that clicks and beeps every time it detects radiation. At first, it barely makes a sound. You pass through the outer 30-kilometer zone, and the readings are almost normal. People have described it as underwhelming at this point, almost disappointingly ordinary. Just quiet roads and overgrown fields. But then the bus approaches the inner 10-kilometer zone, and the dosimeter starts to change. The beeping quickens, like a heartbeat speeding up. The numbers on the screen climb. You're not in danger, but your body doesn't fully believe that yet. Then you see it, rising slowly through the tree line. Massive Soviet concrete apartment blocks, cracked and gray, swallowed by decades of vines and rust. A sign welcomes you to Pripyat. Except, Pripyat hasn't needed a welcome sign since 1986. The first thing that hits you is the silence. Not peaceful silence. Not the silence of a quiet morning or an empty park. This silence is loaded. It presses against you. A city built for 50,000 people, with schools, hospitals, a supermarket, a swimming pool, a fairground, producing absolutely no sound at all. People who've been here describe it as disorienting, otherworldly, like walking onto a film set where the cast simply never showed up. Nature has been reclaiming it. Trees push through cracked pavement. Moss covers everything. Deer wander between the buildings. Wolves have been spotted in the area. The forest is slowly consuming what humans left behind. And everywhere you look, the small details are what make it haunting. Not the big things. The small things. A coat still hanging on a doorknob. A carton of milk still sitting on a kitchen table. A child's shoe, alone, in the middle of a hallway. That's when it stops being history and starts feeling personal. No image of Chernobyl is more iconic than this one. No image of Chernobyl is more iconic than this one. The Ferris wheel of Pripyat. It stands at the edge of an amusement park that was scheduled to open on May 1, 1986, 5 days after the explosion. The grand opening that never came. The rides were assembled, the paint was fresh. Children would have been lining up that weekend. Standing beneath it, the wheel towers above you, motionless, rusted, and completely silent. It has never once spun with laughter. Not a single child ever rode it. There is no ghostly carnival music. No faded screams of excitement, just the wind and the creak of metal. That detail alone, a fairground that opened to no one, captures something about Chernobyl that hours of documentary footage cannot. It's not just a disaster site. It's a moment in time, frozen mid-sentence. Inside the schools of Pripyat, the feeling shifts entirely. Dusty textbooks still open on desks. Children's drawings still pinned to walls. Tiny chairs toppled on rotting floorboards, and scattered across the ground, gas masks, hundreds of them, staring up at the ceiling with hollow, empty eyes. People who've walked these corridors talk about a very specific kind of emotion. Not sadness exactly, but something rawer than that. Anger, maybe. Grief for people you never knew. A deep cellular reaction to the scale of what was lost. You find yourself picturing them, The kids who sat at these desks, passed notes in class, ran through these hallways, dreamed about what they'd be when they grew up. Most of them were told to evacuate within 36 hours of the explosion. They were told to pack lightly. 3 days, they were promised. 3 days and they'd be home. The books are still there, waiting for them to come back. And then there's the reason all of this happened. Reactor 4. You can only photograph it from one designated spot, and when you see it, really see it, the scale is almost incomprehensible. Towering over the landscape is a massive steel arch, the new safe confinement structure, one of the largest movable structures ever built. It was constructed specifically to contain what's underneath, what's still underneath. Because here's the part most people don't think about. The reactor isn't gone. The danger isn't over. Deep inside that structure, there is still a mass of radioactive material known as the elephant's foot, so radioactive that standing next to it for just 300 seconds would deliver a lethal dose of radiation. The arch above it is essentially the world's most expensive tomb, built to last 100 years. A monument to what happens when ambition outpaces caution. Standing in front of it, you don't feel triumph. You don't feel awe in the way you might at a great wonder of the world. You feel small, and you feel humbled. Leaving the zone, you pass back through the dosimeter checkpoints. You're scanned to make sure you're not carrying contamination out with you. The dosimeter is taken back, and slowly, the world outside returns. Traffic, noise, people going about their lives. But something stays with you. Chernobyl isn't just a disaster site. It isn't dark tourism or a history lesson. It's a mirror, a place that shows you, in uncomfortable clarity, what the world looks like when everything, every routine, every plan, every ordinary Tuesday, suddenly stops. A city that was promised 3 days got 38 years of silence instead. And somewhere in those empty corridors, in those frozen classrooms, in that motionless Ferris wheel, 50,000 lives are still waiting to be lived.